These are pretty nasty.
Welcome back to another legit food review. We're at Buc-ee's and we have the true sluiced barbecued brisket sandwich. Oh my gosh, why is the lighting so bad?
For anyone who doesn't know, Buc-ee's is actually what Wawa and Racetrack wish they could be someday. It's an absolutely enormous gas station with over 100 pumps and the cleanest bathrooms you'll ever see. Although it originated in Texas, there are now 2 Buc-ee's locations in Florida that are very new, one in St. Augustine and one in my hometown of Daytona Beach. We're going to check it out and see what it's all about. So most of the commentary today is actually going to be us reviewing their brisket sandwich while I dub over the poker hands, as we were going to go over to the outlet mall so I could record my poker hands, but it was a pretty windy day and none of the audio sounded good, so enjoy the poker. Alright, let's get right into it here. We've got 8-10 of diamonds in the big blind, facing an early position open to $30. It folds to us. We make the call. Kind of a loose call for such a big open, but we decide to defend. Folds back to them, so we're going heads up to a flop, which comes for 8 deuce. We've got top pair on a pretty dry board.
Woohoo. Alright, here we go. It's a nice brisket sandwich.
Yeah, okay, get out of here. They bet 30 after we check. We call with top pair. The turn's awesome. Comes an 8, we got trips, it goes check, check, and the river's at 10. We've got the boat. We decide to make a very polarizing bet here. We bet 80. Our opponent thinks for a little bit and ultimately ends up letting it go. So we take the first little pot of the night, starting off pretty good.
Another thing I'll say, I probably would have appreciated a toasted bun. However,
Going here, we've got ace deuce of diamonds on the button facing 3 limps, so we decide to limp behind, and then the small blind raises to 15. Now if you've ever played live poker, you know that this is not going to get through any of us. We all make the call, going to an absolutely inflated pot of $90 5 ways to a flop that comes, wait for it,
that's pretty good.
I expected it to be drier.
5-7 deuce 1 diamond. We got bottom pair in the backdoor flush draw. That's all we need. It checks all the way around, and the turn is the 9 of diamonds, giving us the flush draw. Hijack bets 55 into us. Now you could raise here, and I think in the future I actually do like a raise here, so we can bluff if we don't improve on the river. But we decide to make the flat call in the spot, going to a river, which comes an absolutely beautiful card. Comes the 10 of diamonds. We've got the nut flush, and even better, the hijack bets into us for 50. We raise to 150, and then we get the speech.
I don't know if that's any good. I've had this hand with you before. The same thing.
Wow, that's a disciplined fold.
Last time I got in that situation with you, I called and you had the nut flush. I mean, I know what you got.
There we go. Extra large water. Stay hydrated.
It is bigger than my head.
I don't recommend getting a Coke of that size. That's a lot of sugar. Get water. Or like tea, I don't know. They have tea in there?
I'm sure they have tea in there.
Nothing super special to talk about with this hand. We've got the big blind special on a 6-way limped pot with queen 8 of diamonds. We decide to bet 20 with our flush draw on a gutter. We pick up 2 callers, so we're going 3 ways to a turn. That comes an offsuit 9. Doesn't really change anything, so we barrel again for 65, and they both fold. So yeah, taking down a nice little pot here.
This is not an advertisement for Buc-ee's, although I wish it was. Call me. That's brilliant. You see this innovation over here?
Big brain.
Cup and a cup. The brilliance.
All right, get out of here. So after this hand, we're going to give our final thoughts on the Buc-ee's brisket sandwich, and then we're going to get to a more scenic location. But in the meantime, we've got another legit big blind review with king queen offsuit. There was an early position raise to 15. We called, going multiple ways to a flop that comes queen high. It checks through, and then the turn is another queen. So we're going to take a stab at this pot here. We bet $50. We get 1 caller very quickly, going to the last card, which is an offsuit 9. Doesn't change the board much. We go for a nice polarizing bet. We bet 125, and they very quickly snap fold. So we're going to be taking this nice sizable pot down with a set of queens.
Okay, if I had to rate Buc-ee's sliced brisket sandwich, I would give it 4 out of 5 beavers. Is that adequate? Do you agree? 4 out of 5 beavers?
I don't like number scales.
4 out of 5 beavers.
Headed across the street now to the Tanger Outlet Mall in Daytona Beach. Gonna walk around and hopefully give you a better scenic view than the inside of my car. So I know we've been taking the poker very lightly in this vlog, but I do want to look at this hand in detail because this was a very crucial moment in the night. We've got pocket queens in the big blind, facing an under the gun limp, a button limp, and a small blind limp. We make it 35, which 7x, it's just not big enough. It almost never will be over 3 limpers, so they all call. We're going 4 ways to a flop, which comes decent. It comes 3, 4, 8. Gotta be grateful that there's no ace or no king on this board. In this situation, in 3 people, we decide to bet 80, which is a pretty big bet relative to the pot. I think this is fine into these number of people. The under the gun limper folds, the button calls, and the small blind folds. So we're going heads up to a turn, and in this situation we kind of have to decide which boards we want to bet and which boards we want to check. When the turn comes a 9, I think you could go both ways on this card. We decide to bet, we bet 150, and then this happens.
All in.
Really? Shit.
Oh. Nice hand, man. Nice hand.
After the button jams 700 over our 150, I don't think we can really call with one pair here. There were 3 people in the pot to begin with, and I think that the button definitely is going to have the range advantage on this board as well. Note that we didn't snap fold queens here, I just cut that part out in post, but the button told us later that they flopped bottom 2 pair. And then we started spiraling and playing really badly, so let's just wrap all that up in one clip. You thought there was no way I could pull the same gag twice in one video. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. But in truth, we did start playing rather poorly. For example, in this hand, we've got 7 8 of clubs in early position, and we make it 20, and we get 3 callers. I don't really feel like I have to explain why this isn't the greatest situation to be in, but the flop comes deuce 6 7, so we've got top pair, and we make the interesting decision to bet into 3 people with top pair weak kicker for half pot. For 40, we get 1 caller directly to our left, and the other 2 players fold. So we're going heads up to a turn, which is an interesting card. It's a deuce, and in this situation, I decide to bet half pot again. I bet 80, and after a little bit of time, the player to our left raises to 190. Now, there's a lot of things to consider in this situation. The deuce normally for our range is going to be a good card, but for our hand, it's a pretty bad card because if they do have an overpair, we're dead to only a 7. So with no backdoor draws, really, we decide to let this one go, and our opponent would later say that they flatted us pre-flop with pocket 10s. So that's always nice. Gotta love the good old local 2-5 scene. That's going to about wrap up this session here. We were into the game for $1,000, out of the game for $565, booking a loss of $435 over about 4 hours, which equates to roughly $109 per hour, or roughly 22 big blinds per hour. Unfortunate that we were up almost a full double up and then really got run over in like the last hour and a half of the night, but regardless, we still had a great time playing at the Daytona Beach Racing and Card Club. Again, thank you so much to them for letting me film in their room, and with that, keep your body healthy, keep your mind healthy. This has been Runner Runner Poker. Have a good one. If you need like a quick, filling, short meal while you're on the road,
and I would to pass by one of the 2 Buc-ees in the entire state of Florida.
If you happen to pass one of the 2 Buc-ees in Florida, I would recommend stopping to get gas, a bathroom break, and a good brisket sandwich. There's no drive-through. Supposedly there's a car rush somewhere, but we haven't found that yet.
Maybe they haven't set it up yet. That's still pretty new.
Yeah. Woo! Okay.